This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network. And welcome, everybody, to episode 93 of the Animaniacs.
Wait a minute. I know some folks we can stay with.
I didn't know you had friends in New York.
Not exactly friends. They're more like acquaintances.
Whatever made them think that this could be a show? 6 friendies on a couch just drinking cups of joe. They lead such boring lives but never fear, because we're moving in for a month, maybe a year. Oh, we won't ever leave. No, you can't throw us out. We won't ever leave. You can scream, you can shout. We won't ever leave. Our new acquaintances.
And welcome once again to the Animaniacs. We are the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we explore the series, episode by episode, talking about all the cultural references and gags that we can find, and in the end, we give each episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again from beautiful Los Angeles, it's my brother Nathan.
Who wants a tunnel?
And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
I'm the cutest one of all.
Oh, good. We both have. You both have a theme, or you both have catchphrases today.
Yay!
I'm so excited. Well, today we are talking about episode 93 of Animaniacs. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the run of Animaniacs. We have boo. But we have these segments: Cute First, Ask Questions Later, Acquaintances, Here Comes Attila, and Boo Wonder. And if I were to ask you guys in a few words what you thought about today's episode, what would you say, Nathan?
What a cheap cartoon, I guess, as they would say in the cartoon.
And Kelly, what about you?
Dot was working her cute weirdness, man.
She certainly was. Her cute weirdness. Well, Nathan, tell us, when did today's episode first premiere?
Okay, so this episode first premiered, it was a Saturday, it was October 11th, and it was the year 1997. This was just a couple days after Everclear released their multi-platinum third album called So Much for the Afterglow, containing Father of Mine and I Will Buy You a New Life. It was 2 days after Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 was released for Microsoft Windows. It was just a day after the release of Rocket Man and Boogie Nights, and a week before the release of I Know What You Did Last Summer and The Devil's Advocate.
Okay, so a lot of stuff there.
Lots of stuff.
Only 2 things I really liked. I liked
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I've never seen that. Although I am a Jennifer Love Hewitt fan, but just because I think she's pretty.
I'm guessing the 2 things that you like are Father of Mine and I Will Buy You a New Life.
Nope. Guess again. No, you know this, Nathan. What are the 2 things that you think that I on that list went, ooh?
Rocket Man and Boogie Nights.
Nope, not Boogie Nights. Never seen it.
I don't know. Did you ever play Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2? Not to be confused with Star Wars Jedi Knight Outcast. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, which was the sequel to this.
I guess I don't know what
confusing.
That is. Never mind. I only had excited about one thing. And that's Rocket Man. I heard the Dark Forces Jedi Knight thing, and I thought that was the one that we played on GameCube, but that was the sequel.
Was, Jedi Knight 2, which it's weird because then they get rid of the Dark Forces 2. I don't know what they're there was Dark Forces, then Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, then Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, I think. And then they have a third one. I don't follow the series enough. I'm sorry.
No, I know. There's some people out there listening, and they're like, they wanted us to get it right, I'm sure. So I'm glad that we did not make that mistake, or at least you corrected my mistake.
Yeah, and I may have made more mistakes myself. So sorry.
Well, anyway, Rocket Man, suffice to say, is... Man, I love that movie. And I just realized before we're getting going, like, this is now episodes of Animaniacs that were premiering when I was a freshman in college. And I missed these episodes. I never saw them when they were originally aired because I guess I was studying or something like that. I don't know. Plus, it was on Kids WB, and you never knew what things were on Kids WB.
Yeah, and the new episodes are so random. Like,
yeah,
you know.
That's the thing. I remember
it's been like a month since the last new episode. It's the next one won't be until January of next year. So it's like, well,
I think at this point I was probably assuming that they just weren't making new episodes because and there was no way to tell for sure. You know,
I wasn't even aware it was coming on Saturdays.
Yeah,
I didn't watch a lot of TV at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually it was just Buffy.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was, well, and you know, the WB, it's there for me at least. I mean, I guess Buffy was playing on the WB, right? But
yeah, in the evenings. Yeah.
But there wasn't much else in my demographic, at least my interest level on the WB. It was always kind of like, oh yeah, those other sitcoms. And so maybe I just kind of missed some of the promotion for Animaniacs episodes because of that. I don't know, but suffice it to say, I just missed a lot of these. So, yeah, we're watching them for the first time, as it were. Yeah, every time I turn it on, Animaniacs is on. I wonder if it's new. Nope, it's another rerun, which I would watch and then go, okay, that's fine. But I would never know when the new ones were on. Well, before we get into today's episode, I have some quick Animaniacs / Freakazoid news to share. It's actually Paul Rugg recently finished a rug all by himself. This is a Freakazoid logo rug, otherwise known as the Freakarug. He started making rugs. It's rugs by Rugg, and this one is the Freakazoid logo. And it took him hours and hours. In fact, he made a video that you can actually get if you purchase this rug. And how do you get this rug? Well, you can get it on eBay. Here's the item's description. The Freakarug is an original work of quote-unquote art made by Paul Rugg, the voice of Freakazoid himself, as well as one of the writers and producers of the show. Isn't that exciting? This particular size will never be made by Paul again, mostly because it was the most boring thing he's ever done. The rug has also been ceremoniously sat on by Lucky, the famed star of the internet. Wow. You know, Lucky, the dog who bites the Paul in the video? Yeah, that's Lucky. The Freakarug is decorative only and is not recommended to be used as a rug. Hang it on the wall and enjoy. We know we would. The Freakarug comes with a certificate of authenticity, validating its authenticity in a very official, authentic way. And it comes with free shipping. So he put this up, when we're recording this episode, he just put it up on eBay last night. And guess who was the first person to bid for it? Me. That's right.
Nice. I was going to guess Steven Spielberg.
No, I would hope, I would hope Steven would be able to win it. But I was the first one. The bidding opened at $200, and I bid for it. I was like, I'm gonna see what happens. And as of today, when we're recording, with still 9 days left for the auction, it has gone up to $350. I am no longer the top bidder on this, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
So I'm not, as much as I love Freakazoid and I really want to get this rug. I don't have $350 to spend on this. But if you have the expendable income and you would love to have an original piece of art, it really is really fantastic. made by none other than the voice of Freakazoid himself, Paul Rugg, then you should check this out. We'll have the information both on our Twitter page as well as our show notes today. So even if you check this out months after the auction has ended, you can at least see what the final bidding was, the final price. Because, boy, it looks like it's getting... I wonder what it's going to get up to. Maybe 500 or more, perhaps, because still 9 days left. Who knows? Who knows where
once
it's going to
Steven gets involved, it's going to be, millions.
The bidding war will start. So
Begun, the bidding wars have.
So, yes, check that out. And, I can't wait to see what that is. So good luck to Paul, and go get your Freakarug, everybody. Well, let's go ahead and get into our segments. Let's start with Cute First, Ask Questions Later. And Cute First, Ask Questions Later was written by Ralph Saul and was directed by Liz Halsman. And Kelly, tell us what happens here in Cute First, Ask Questions Later.
It tackles the Snow White story, and Snow White throws the evil queen off a cliff and moves into her castle with the prince, and pretty much gets rid of everything, but she keeps the magic mirror. And she's the cutest one in the land, and she's pretty happy with that, until one day the mirror tells her that Dot is the cutest one in the land. So she gets her 2 dwarves, because it's a cheap cartoon and they can't afford 7, to go and abduct her and bring her back and put her in the dungeon. And she goes and taunts Dot and says, "You're going to stay here for 101 seconds. And
we'll see how cute you are after being locked in the damp and not very clean dungeon for 101 seconds.
101 seconds?
Well, it's not very long, is it?
No.
I'm impatient. I expect results immediately.
You know when you get mad like that, you get these little wrinkles.
My face! It's your fault. We'll be back when you're less cute.
And Dot starts working her cute weirdness on the dungeon guard, and it's just like in Hearts of Twilight. He's like, "You're working your cute weirdness on me, man. Your cute weirdness." And she's like, "Let me out of the cagey wagey." And I laughed because I love Hearts of Twilight.
Whoa! You're cute, man. You got this whole cute "don't make me stay in here" thing happening, man.
Please let me out of this cagey wagey.
You're working your weirdness on me, man. Your cute weirdness. No way, man.
Pleasey, wheezy, wheezy, wheeze.
No!
So he lets her out of the dungeon, and then she has this confrontation with Snow White, and the prince knocks them both out of a window.
I'm Dot, the cute one.
No, I'm cute.
I'm cute.
I'm cute as well.
No, I'm the cutest. I'm the cutest.
Calm down, people. Let's vote. Whoever thinks she's the cutest, raise their hands.
Vote for me! Vote for me!
Isn't democracy wonderful?
And then Dot takes over the castle with the prince and has him moving over, all the furniture around. And she has him set this big dresser in front of the mirror just as he's about to tell her that the Olsen twins are cuter than she is.
So we had to squeeze in an Olsen twins reference right at the end.
From the sky to the sea, to each land touched by winds, there are new reigning cuties named the Olsens.
The cartoon has a few pop cultural references in it. I mean, the mirror right there was kind of I believe that was Maurice LaMarche doing a Walter Cronkite impression. And, of course, there's Robin Leach kind of voice doing the narration of this.
Meanwhile, Dot wondered how long she'd have to endure this horrible torture.
Actually, I was wondering how long I'd have to endure this horrible narrator.
But he did the lifestyles of the rich and fabulous, or whatever, rich and famous?
Rich and famous,
yes. And
with champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
He has the trappings of a rock star, the possessions of a mighty mogul, and the unique style of the one and only Randy Macho King Savage. Little did I know as I entered his secret kingdom that total obedience is demanded by the monarch who's stark raving bonkers.
No, you ain't supposed to hit him.
Unbelievable. See, victory is in my grasp.
Game's not over yet.
We are down to the final gate, and I am in the lead. But in the crowned croquet caper, my opponent bent more than the rules.
Relax, don't worry. Just because you're going against the Macho King doesn't mean that. Too bad. Unbelievable. You ran right there. That's where some people make it and other people's don't. That's why I live in the kingdom of the madness, and you're just visiting. Yeah.
Gosh, there's a few other things. I mean, obviously they're going to Hearts of Twilight, like you mentioned, Kelly. But really, that's pretty much it. Then the cultural references. I guess there's the same thing that happens. The Queen dies in a similar way in both this version and in the Disney version. She goes off a cliff. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So let's just talk about our favorite moments. Nathan, what were some of your favorite moments in this cartoon?
I liked at the beginning when they're singing a song, and it's the theme song, and Dot is kidnapped for the theme song, and it's just kind of cute, I guess.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax.
Caught! Caught!
What? Hey, where's Dot?
Well, that's just it. She was nabbed by 2 dwarves.
2 dwarves? That's shocking. Well, this is a fabulously cheap cartoon.
And we've had that one other time where they have to sing the theme song every time, I guess. And
right.
Because they have all the characters come in just for the theme song, and then
super strong Warner siblings, I think, right? Is that when they did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to. So this is what happens, everybody. We, in case you hadn't wondered, they have to do the theme song each time, live for each episode. It's crazy.
Although I don't know why they did this one twice this time. It's kind of weird.
Oh, it's a story of how they did it live one time.
Maybe they were trying to set it up for next week.
Maybe you have to you have to pre-record some of this stuff.
Okay, that was a good one for this week. Now let's do next week.
Oh man,
save some time.
It's all about time management, saving money. Kelly, what were some things that you liked about this cartoon?
I like the Hearts of Twilight reference.
I thought you would like that. That as soon as that popped up, I'm like, oh, Kelly's going to like this part. Now, did it work as well in this one for you, or was it just kind of like, oh yeah, that's cute, but I don't like it as much?
Well, yeah, I didn't like it as much because it really fit in with the episode Heart of Twilight. Mm-hmm. And here it was just an obvious, callback to that. So it was funny because you knew what they were doing, but it wasn't new.
Right.
Original. So there's that. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper's whatever that guard is, his character, his animation did look a little weird in this one, though. Like the way his mouth kind of looked sometimes, it just kind of threw me off. Like, ooh, that kind of looks weird, and so I didn't really like how his face kind of changed from time to time. But overall, I mean, there were some good lines. Now, some people think that this first segment, is a little too weird. And I've seen it on both the blog, Hello, Nice Warners, and then, of course, on the Please, Please, Please Get a Life original commentary, I guess you could say. Back in the 90s, people were saying, this feels too weird. Like the narration and talking to the narrator and everything feels like an episode of Freakazoid. And they're saying it like it's a bad thing, which I don't think episodes of Freakazoid. It was like, well, what's wrong with that? But is this episode just a little too weird for Animaniacs? I think it was different, but was it too weird? What do you think, Nathan?
I mean, I didn't mind the weirdness, but I like Freakazoid, so I don't know. I mean, it was. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
What do you think, Kelly? Was this a little weirder than usual, or was this okay? Was this, I don't know.
It did seem a little weirder than normal. You know, I guess because a lot less emphasis was actually placed on the Warner siblings.
Mm.
And Snow White seemed to be really kind of the main character in a way.
Yeah, it was really Snow White and Dot, really, and Yakko and Wakko are there to tag along. There's some great moments though with Dot and Snow White, who's really, I mean, gosh, she acts just evil in this one, doesn't she? I mean, she just takes over and she's ready to be the new evil queen. But that moment where Dot is putting little slashes of how many days she's been locked in the tower, and then it turns out that she's just trying to decorate the place with little slashes, and she has little curtains that match.
What are you doing? It gives it a nice textured look, don't you think? I've got matching drapes and a throw rug.
I thought that was pretty cute. But Yakko and Wakko, I did like their plan. Was it something? And then it turns into the whole Channel joke.
Hold it right there. Told you we had a plan. We plan to build a tunnel under the English Channel connecting Britain to France.
Ha! It's already been done. It's called the Channel.
Channel? That's a weird name.
Sounds like a chocolate bar. Hey, who wants a channel?
I do.
We were gonna call it Mr. Timmy's Big Underwater Tube.
I thought that was, just so silly and stupid, and it made me laugh. But, again, to me, it felt silly, but not necessarily sillier than a lot of Animaniacs episodes that we've seen. I mean, there's talking to the screen, or, breaking the fourth wall, and all that jazz. It did feel, though, a little darker than usual.
Yeah, which they killed 2 people.
Yeah, threw one off a cliff into the water. We did see a splash, but Snow White, you do hear a chomp from that sea serpent or crocodile or whatever that thing is at the very end. So it did get a little bit dark. Like even when they're going to, the queen goes to Snow White and says, here's this apple and a hamburger burger. There was an open plot with Snow White's name on it, ready to be, so they could dump her body in there. So but it's a grim fairy tale, right? I mean, those were dark.
I think Snow White's skin was too tan in this. Her skin's supposed to be white as snow, right?
Yeah, so I'm
sorry. Should be the same shade as Dot.
Good point. Well, they should have finally done it right. Disney never did it right.
Right?
Oh well. Well, I guess, does anyone have anything else to say about this first segment, or should we move on?
Dot used her cuteness, but only got out a minute sooner than she would have. I timed it.
Oh, really?
41 seconds until she got out. She was only going to be there for 101 seconds, so it just saved her a minute. Like, whoa.
The queen and Dot were both very impatient. I say the queen, it's Snow White. She's a new queen. Whatever. She's taking over the throne.
This way to commercials. Hey, it wasn't my idea.
Greetings, Persons Perusing Podcast.
Are you looking for something a little different for your Star Wars-themed shows?
Then join millions of others who now proudly call themselves scoundrels.
I don't think it's millions, Taxus.
It has to be close by now. After all the word of mouth and interwebs, nothing exists in a vacuum, Dennis.
Space does.
I'm not sure what this space vacuum you're talking about is.
Never mind. So if you're looking for a unique show for news, hot space opinions, unique discussion points with our hypotheticals, or Taxus' musings with Saber Clash, then tune into Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels with me, Dennis Keithley.
Me, Jay Krebs.
And me, your humble little Dark Lord of the Shtick, Darth Taxus. From failed bits to musical guests to dancing Wookiees, you never know who might drop by.
You really never do.
So start your engines, fire up your sabers, hold on tight, and join us.
For Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels.
Part of the RetroZap Podcast Network.
The
kids of the 70s and 80s are all grown up, but the good times of childhood don't have to end.
Our generation can share the fun and fandom of our youth with the next generation and bring the past into the future.
And wrap it all up to make a fantastic present.
Join Jedi Schwa and Chef's Bazaar every Monday morning to get your work week started by reminiscing about the past and exploring the future with your earbuds on Techno Retro Dads.
So find us on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, or on RetroZap.com. Part of the RetroZap Network.
Hey, this is Tom Ruger, and you're listening to the Animaniacs.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, and it is called Acquaintances. And Acquaintances was written by the writing comedy duo of Gordon Bresek and Charles M. Howell IV, who has been on the show. Charles M. Howell IV, by the way, you should listen to his interview we did with him a while back. He's a really nice, awesome guy. And it was directed by Adu Payton, which coincidentally was also on the show relatively recently. So you should listen to that episode too, because he's also an awesome guy. Well, Nathan, tell us what happens here in Acquaintances.
All right. Well, the Warners are coming in from Russia, I guess. They're arriving at Ellis Island, and they are giving their names, and they're very long names. So the guy there says, your names are Yakko, Wakko, and Dot. So there we go. It's just like Solo. That's how they got their names. It's important.
Names? I'm Yakanowski.
I'm Wackarati.
And I'm Huge. Dutinovich.
We're the Warner Van Vanovich Dobro Rubinchik Five Brothers.
Too long. Yakko, Wakko, Dot. Next.
Anyways, we move on. They're now... They get kicked away from the Statue of Liberty, and they're on the docks, and like, hey, we need a place to stay. And like, hey, Yakko says, I know someone. Like, hey, I didn't know you had friends here. Like, well, they're more acquaintances. Hit the theme song to Acquaintances, everyone. It's actually the kind of similar to the theme song to Friends, and all the cast of Friends is in the show called Acquaintances. And that's where Yakko and Wakko and Dot are going to stay with their new acquaintance friends. I don't know how they know these people. They never say that. But anyways, they're moving in for a month, maybe a year, and they don't really do a lot. So
let's just do what we do every night. Try to take over the world? No, that's Pinky and the Brain. What do we do? Nothing.
Monica goes to the fridge, and they're like, oh, hello, skinny nurse. She's like, actually, I used to be fat. And then they start feeding her, and then she gets fat through this whole episode. That's funny. And then Phoebe, she tries to sing a song, and Dot smashes her guitar. And Joey is very handsome, and Dot tells him that. And Chandler is being very sarcastic, and Ross is in love with Rachel. And I can't remember if Rachel has any character in this episode at all. And then they eventually say, like, hey, how can we... well, I guess the friends, we'll call them friends because it's easier.
That's who they are.
They all get kicked out of... Yeah, they get kicked out of their apartment, and they can't come in until they do something. And finally they do something, which is just saying, how are we supposed to get along with all these people? And then cue the Brady Bunch theme song, or a parody of it.
Here's a story about a group of slackers who spend all day just slurping up caffeine till they meet the wacky Warners who made their groovy scene. The Warner Bunch, the Warner Bunch, and we call them the Warner Bunch.
Then they get kicked out. Is basically
they finally get kicked out.
And then now they wonder, where should we go? And the answer is to Seinfeld show, and that's where they're at, and that's how it ends.
They end in the coffee shop.
Yeah,
with George and Elaine. No Kramer.
No Kramer. Just Jerry, George, and Elaine.
Which, in retrospect, is probably for the best, considering all the things Kramer has done.
They knew ahead of time. We don't want Michael Richards in this. Yeah, what if he says something offensive someday? You know.
Well, hadn't Seinfeld already been canceled by this point? Anyways?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he had already had his rant.
No. I think Seinfeld went on. I remember. I think Seinfeld. I want to say it went on till 98, maybe. I think.
You may be right.
I think. I seem to remember being still watching it.
What I think too, but
I'm just going in my brain of, let's see, freshman year in college, was I still watching Seinfeld? I believe I was. I know Friends was, because that's how I kind of I tricked my wife to coming over to hang out with me when I was at my house when we were starting dating, because I was like, hey, I really like that. You like Friends? I like the show Friends. You should come over and hang out. We'll watch the show and eat some dinner. And that's how. And then it turns out I kept asking her, who's that guy? That's Ross. Oh, okay. Who's that? Rachel. Oh, okay. I only saw like the last 2 or maybe 2 seasons of Friends. Those are
like the worst seasons.
I know, exactly. But I know those last 2 seasons.
Seinfeld ended in May 14th of 1998.
So
we got a couple more.
Just so we are in the last season of Seinfeld, though, aren't we? Then, okay,
yeah,
okay. The worst season of Seinfeld. Not a good season. Well, anyway, so let's talk about this parody. I mean, this is the most direct parody that you're ever going to find of anything so far that we've ever seen on Animaniacs. They don't even parody the names of the characters. They just call them Ross, Rachel, and everything. I guess partly this was because it was Friends was produced by Warner Brothers. And
have you seen the video of the guy that I guess stole some beer and they got him on the security camera and everybody thinks he looks like David Schwimmer?
I just saw it today, yes.
The David Schwimmer made a video?
Yeah, the David Schwimmer video is hilarious.
Oh, really? He just made it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check that out.
It's him like holding, it's him basically reenacting the picture. It's pretty awesome. And he looks exactly like the guy like in the picture on the video. So he's wearing the same clothes and carrying
wow.
way too many beers.
Good for David Schwimmer having a sense of humor about that. Well, he has enough money. He can afford the quick change of clothes and the beers right there. So I'm sure it wasn't a big deal. Because by the end, I think, weren't they getting paid like, I don't know. I don't think they were getting paid
about $1 million an episode.
Yeah, was it that much? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was going to say it couldn't have been $1 million an episode, but it was. Oh my gosh. Well, so yeah, they kind of like make fun of, well, just the show itself, I suppose. What did the characters on Friends do? I mean, I know that Chandler had a job every now and then, right? I mean, Joey was the actor. Mm-hmm. He was the only one that never really, he kind of rotated jobs.
Monica was a cook, chef.
Right. Okay, so they're doing things.
Ross was an archaeologist. Paleontologist.
Yes, and he was a professor too, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so we're getting jobs for these guys. They're doing stuff. Okay, Phoebe, of course, she sang in the coffee shop.
And she was also a masseuse.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So they're doing stuff.
Yeah, they all have jobs at times. They're all...
Yeah, Chandler had a few different jobs, I think.
I mean...
no one was ever clear on what his job was.
His job was statistical analysis and data reconfiguration or something.
Really?
It was an IT procurements.
Oh, which reminds me, have you ever seen that great video from the late 90s with, I think it was... Jennifer Aniston and, oh God, who plays Chandler? I forget the actor's name. It's Chandler and Rachel. And they're in a Windows 95 commercial, I believe it is. It's like this whole infomercial about Windows. It is so bad. It's hilarious because it's like, what is this computer? What is the internet? It's like it's ridiculously simple, and you can find it on YouTube. It's great.
Okay, now let's load up the taskbar. I'll show you what it does.
Taskbar? Is that anything like a Snickers bar? Does that have nougat?
What is nougat? Does anybody know that?
Matthew Perry,
thank you. But you can go to the WB tour, studio tour, and I guess they still have the Friends set up, or at least a facsimile of it, and you could walk around and you can sit in the couch and everything like that. So
they have the Central Perk or whatever. So
we saw it when it was still in
coffee there.
Yeah, we saw it when it was actively still being used as a TV set. I remember going on that tour in the 90s and going, "Oh, that's cool." But yeah, so this is The biggest criticism I have of this isn't necessarily the jokes, because I think the jokes are okay, which really I was hoping they'd be a lot better, especially seeing that Gordon Bressick and Charles M. Howell were writing this one. I was like, oh, good, I really like these guys. But this episode wasn't as funny as I guess it could have been. But the biggest criticism I have has nothing to do with the writing. It's actually of how Joey looked. He did, at least in my opinion, he did not look anything like Joey on Friends. Did you guys have that problem too? Or
at first I thought he was Chandler.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm like, who's that supposed to be? And they had everyone else pretty much down except for him. He just, I don't know. He almost looked like Matthew Perry or something. I don't know. But anyway, that was my only biggest criticism. But what are some of your favorite moments, things that you thought were funny, or maybe things that you didn't think were funny? Kelly, what do you think?
Well, when they did the beginning part, coming through Ellis Island, and they shortened their names, it reminded me of An American Tale, which is executive produced by Steven Spielberg.
Ding, ding, ding.
And the Mouskowitzes get into America, and like Fievel says his name is Fievel, but they're like, no, we're going to call you Philly, and they changed their names. And then they were trying to figure out somewhere to stay, and then they said, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego staying? And she moves across the screen, and I like that because I played the very first Carmen Sandiego game on my computer, and I loved it, and I learned so much about geography, and I watched the cartoon too. I never got into the game show that much.
Oh, I love the game show. I was all about the game show.
Love Carmen Sandiego.
Nathan, what about you?
Well, I like Friends, I think. No, it's there. Yeah, a lot of the jokes kind of fell flat. So, but there was Good Feathers cameo.
Colored incorrectly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the animation was pretty inconsistent on this episode. I mean, sometimes it was really fluid, like when they were doing the names on Ellis Island, but then other times the characters just looked off, like the faces looked weird and things like that. So, I don't know. This episode just seemed a little off, like the animation or the drawing style. It was there, and it was like it kept getting almost good, and then it stopped. It was just short of being really funny, and I'm not exactly sure why, but that's because I don't write cartoons. I don't know. I just watch them and like them. I don't know how to write them. But yeah, any other thoughts before we move on to our last couple quick segments?
So are there actual names, not Yakko, Wakko, and Dot? Like, is that canon, or?
I think this is them playing a role again. There's too many. There's too many.
There's too many.
It'll hurt my head if I think about it.
Well, they go.
Oh yeah.
Were their parents pencils? Were there?
No, we've already asked them the pencil joke. Yeah, and that was no. That was a joke, or that was them playing the role. So this, I think, fits into the same category of they are just playing the role of some immigrants going in. But that was probably my highlight of the whole episode. Actually, was that portion, and then it turned into a Friends parody. I did like the parody of the theme song. I didn't like how it sounded, but I liked how it looked because it really nailed the look of the theme song. So that was fun. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next part, which is a song written by John P. McCann, and it's called Here Comes Attila. And Here Comes Attila, like I just said, was written by John P. McCann, and it was directed by Adu Payton. And, basically this is a song about Attila the Hun, and it's done to the tune of Get Out of the Way, Old Dan Tucker, which is I guess you could say one of those old Americana standard songs, perhaps, that I am not familiar with, really. But it talks about Attila and all the different things he did and how he took over stuff, and then he ate, I believe, 2 oxen? And then died, but then you would have too. So it has lots of illa rhymes, except his favorite ice cream was strawberry, because it's not a perfect world.
Back to Attila, 18 ox and got his villa. He wore shorts made of chinchilla. His favorite ice cream was strawberry.
What can I say? It's not a perfect world.
Attila, 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 gorilla for sale.
And that little joke kind of went over my head because it was not... I'd never watched Magilla Gorilla, really. But that's it. That was it's a short song. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah.
The Attila song.
I wish it was more educational, I guess. I don't know. I didn't feel like I learned a lot. The date, like 1441 is something, right?
Mm.
I don't know. I can't remember what years it even takes place. But, they say a date, and they say that they fought France. But, I looked up, that's not how he died.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah, I just learned a fact that's not true. I don't like that.
Oh, no. Well, John McCann is a regular listener, so as far as we are concerned, Nathan, that's how he died.
Yeah, I mean, I looked it up, and they don't really quite know how he died.
Nope.
But
John
so
McCann's
be...
Nope. We're saying that he died by eating those oxen. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When one of the writers listens to the show and then I say, "Yep, everything they do." That's exactly right.
There we go.
That's how he died. Put it in Wikipedia, folks. It's true. Well, Kelly, what did you think about this song?
I thought it was really catchy, and it was kind of interesting the way they got most of the words to rhyme except for strawberry.
Ironically, that's the one part that actually is the only part that I kept getting in my head all day. Was his favorite flavor was strawberry or whatever it is. Just because it's so different from the rest of the song that that part got an earworm. It's definitely earwormy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a cute song, and perhaps not the most educational of all the songs we've heard on Animaniacs, but apparently it was written quite a bit before this actually premiered, probably around 1994, because at this point John P. McCann was writing for Freakazoid. So yeah, they just kind of put this song on the shelf for a while and finally animated it. But yeah, that's Attila. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the last part right here, and this is Boo Wonder. And Boo Wonder was written by Marcus Williams and was directed by Adu Payton and Charles Visser. And this is Batman, which I don't think they ever call him Batman on this, don't they? They don't just call him the Caped Crusader in this, but it's Batman. We all know it's Batman. And he's voiced by Adam West, which, of course, it's going to be Batman. But he has a sidekick, and of course the sidekick is... well, he's playing kind of a Robinish kind of character, but it's Chicken Boo. And everyone keeps telling the Caped Crusader that his sidekick is a chicken, and the Caped Crusader keeps telling him he's not a chicken.
Glad you're here. Punchline is up to some funny business up in the TV studio.
Don't worry, Commissioner. We'll take care of that fiendish villain. Right, old chum?
Caped Crusader, the Boo Wonder is a chicken. A giant chicken.
Don't be silly. He's not a chicken. He's just the strong, silent type.
At the end, he whacks him on the back because he's doing a good job, and his mask falls off. And his hair, and his Burt Ward hair kind of knocks off too, to show that he is, in fact, a giant chicken. So they kick him so high, he makes a silhouette across the moon, much like the Batwing does in Tim Burton's Batman movie. And he makes a cool little Chicken Boo symbol, which is, I think that should be a shirt. I've seen some cool Animaniacs designs, but if there's any artists out there that want to make a Chicken Boo Batman thing, we'll totally put it on our TeePublic store. So What did you guys think about this Boo Wonder cartoon? Kelly, what do you think?
I thought it was cute, and I knew right away it was Adam West's voice, and I thought that was really neat. And so it certainly took me back to the old Batman TV show.
I used to love watching that as a kid. I mean, it was just on all the time, it seems like. And I just love every day it was like, same bat day, time, same bat channel, and being able to tune in the next day and see the continuation of these corny stories. Of course, nothing comes close to Batman the Animated Series, but, whatever. Nathan, what did you think about it?
Oh, Adam West really helps the cartoon. Like, if this cartoon didn't have Adam West as the voice of the Caped Crusader, I don't know how good it would be.
You could put Kevin Conroy in and have, that would be...
But Adam West just has a funnier voice. Like, I don't know. If I hear his voice, I smile,
Yeah, and this must have been one of his earlier... I mean, he did Mr. Mayor on Family Guy for so many years, but I wonder if this is... I mean, he didn't... I don't think he did as much animation voice work back in the day.
Yeah, no, he did one on The Simpsons, I think, before this.
Oh, yeah, well, he was playing Adam West, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that was a very memorable role when he's doing the Bat-Tusi or whatever they call it, and they just slowly walk away from him.
The Batmobile. Adam West! Hey kids, Batman!
Dad, that's not the real Batman.
Of course I'm Batman. See, here's a picture of me with Robin.
Who the hell's Robin?
Oh, I guess you're only familiar with the new Batman movies. Michelle Pfeiffer. Ha. The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West. And how come Batman doesn't dance anymore? Remember the Bat-Tusi?
Nice meeting you. Just keep moving. Don't make eye contact.
Yeah, that's why I really like him as a voice actor. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and kind of doing a little different play on the Boo, where pretty much the only person that doesn't know that Chicken Boo is a chicken is Adam West. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. And they had I guess they had some other references here to, like, She's the Sheriff, I believe, in this, which I'd never seen, but I guess Suzanne Summers was in that. Yeah. Any familiarity with that show at all, Kelly?
No. I mean, I know who Suzanne Summers is. Die Master.
Yeah, exactly. But at first, She's the Sheriff. I think the only time I ever heard that it was probably in Mystery Science Theater episodes when they would talk about that. Punchline is the main villain in this, who's kind of a weird balance between the Riddler and the Joker. He has big punching gloves on his fists, so that's kind of cool and all, but he sounds very much like a Jim Carrey-esque, almost Joker-esque kind of voice. So,
okay, Punchline, you've told your last joke.
Yes, Caped Crusader, quite right. For years, no one has taken me seriously. But now, I will prove to all of Flotsam that I am a force to be reckoned with. I will reveal the deep, dark secret of the dynamic duo. The Boo Wonder is a chicken!
That's a gold one, boss.
I did like the villain and the design of this and everything like that. It's one of the, maybe not the best Chicken Boo we've seen, but it's definitely one of the better ones, I think. It was a different kind of concept, so I liked it. It's that time again. It's time to get to our water tower rating. But before we do, I think we should share some thoughts from one of our listeners. And this is from William. And William shared his thoughts over on our Discord channel. And you can join us, our discussion about Animaniacs and various other things as well, by going to discord.animaniacast.com, and that will bring you into the Discord channel where you can talk to us and also other RetroZap podcast hosts and writers. And, there's just conversations going on all different types of things. And I usually try to pull Nathan into some of them. I just pulled Nathan into a discussion about Aquaman the other day because I know he saw the movie ahead of everybody.
But that's a secret.
That's a secret. Don't tell anybody that he saw Aquaman, but he saw Aquaman.
Yeah.
But you can't talk about it, but you saw it.
I can't talk about it. I can't say anything. I can't confirm or deny that I saw it.
Yes. So I'm sorry. So Nathan maybe saw it? I don't know. Maybe he's maybe he lied to us. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, whatever, Nathan. Let's go ahead and get to William's thoughts about today's episode, and then we'll get to our Water Tower rating. So he says, I don't think this was a very good short, meaning cute first, ask questions later. I don't think this was a very good short, and the same could be said about Acquaintances. Dot's line about the narrator was funny, but other than that, that's it. Not much made me laugh, from that bad narrator to the fact that they brought back the Dennis Hopper joke again, which doesn't need to be here, and the feeling of blandness throughout the short. I think this does show that Animaniacs was really declining, because I'm not laughing as much as I did with Seasons 1 and the first half of Season 3. Oh. Well, there's a little bit to that, I guess. Tom, in our last discussion of episode 92, we're going to have Tom Rugg on in the next, I would hope, few weeks. And one of the things he is going to talk to us about is episode 92. And he wrote and rewrote a lot of that episode. And in his little quick email to us, did say that he thought it was the last really solid episode of Animaniacs. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, so that's not exactly what he said, but he thought that was like really, all in all, from start to finish, one of the last really good ones. So, yeah, maybe William's right. Maybe this is a little bit of a decline. We're going to see. But before we go to all that, let's go to what we thought. Kelly, let's start with you. What did you think about today's episode? How many water towers would you give today's episode?
I'd give it 4 because I thought all the segments were pretty interesting. We had a catchy song. We had a Heart of Twilight reference. No Spielberg reference. So,
although you could say American Tail sort of is kind of right, sort of.
Well, yeah, and we did have Carmen Sandiego. So, I mean, at least it made me think of an American Tail.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I thought it was all pretty strong.
All right, Nathan, what do you think? I think I'll go. I'll just stick with it. I'm going to say 2.5. I don't know. I kind of felt like the first 2 segments were a little slow, and then the song didn't learn anything. Really, I just really like that Chicken Boo one. That's all I really liked in this segment. I really like that one. I think that was worth seeing, and everything else I'd probably just skip over next time.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go sort of kind of in the middle of you guys. I'm gonna give it a 3, just because I think. I mean, I like the song. I like the Chicken Boo. The Acquaintances was okay. And then the first segment, the other one was still okay. It was just kind of okay. It was just in the middle for me. Wasn't bad in my opinion or anything. It was just like, it was okay. How many times could I use the word okay, the word okay in a sentence, or the acronym, whatever you're going to say? So let's go ahead and move on to our poll results, because a little while ago we had a couple weeks ago. We had a question for our audience, and we were asking them about the best Mindy and Buttons poll, or the best Mindy and Buttons cartoon, I should say. The question posed to the audience was, which of these is the best Mindy and Buttons cartoon? And the choices were, in third place with 18%, Buttons in Ows. In second place was Mindy in Wonderland, but the winner of this poll was Night of the Living Buttons with 44%. And, well, what do you guys think? Which of those three was your favorite? Kelly, what do you think?
I liked Mindy in Wonderland. Or, I'm sorry, Button in Wonderland.
Or Mindy in Wonderland. You're right the first time.
Mindy in Wonderland. Okay. Because of Wonderland, and there was a tea party.
There you go. That's a good enough reason for me. Nathan, what do you think?
I voted for Night of the Living Buttons because there was a Michael Jackson reference. I thought it was funny.
I'm going to go for Night of the Living Buttons as well, just because, well, it's close to Halloween when we're recording this, and it was a different kind of cartoon from the typical Mindy and Buttons. And, yeah, I did like that thriller thing. I thought that was a nice little twist at the end. And apparently Buttons just stayed a zombie at the end? Who knows? We never found out. Never found out how he stopped being a zombie. Well, let's go ahead and get to our poll for this week. So, Nathan, what do we got?
So there's going to be a reboot of Animaniacs.
What?
Yeah. And so the question is that good? No.
Is that good?
No, the question is, what other Tom Ruegger created show would we like to see a reboot of? And the choices are Tiny Toons, Freakazoid, Road Rovers, or Hysteria. There you go.
Those are some good cartoons. Now, some of them we haven't had less experience with. I mean, Hysteria and Road Rovers I had very little experience with. I know I have seen more of Hysteria, though, recently, and I really... Especially as a social studies teacher, I was like, oh man, I wish I could have shown a lot of these episodes for my kids because a lot of them are really funny and they give out some good facts about the issue that they're or at least the topic they're going over. But what do you folks think? Make your voice heard. Go to twitter.com/Animaniacast or just go ahead and search for hashtag Animaniacast poll and find that poll and let us know. What would you like to see a reboot of? I think a lot of people are going to be voting for either Tiny Toons or Freakazoid.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Are we assuming Tom Ruegger is part of the reboot of this?
Absolutely. In fact, we should call this a Ruegger boot or something instead of a reboot.
Yeah.
So, of course, considering, with Tom Ruegger's involvement, which of these, we should add that. We'll add that into the thing. With Tom Ruegger's involvement, which of these would you like to see a reboot of?
Let's get a reboot right. Let's get it right this time.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people get in contact with you online?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter. JangoFT, that's me.
All right. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, or you can email me, Kelly, at BigShinyRobot.com.
All right. And as for us on the Animaniacast, you can see us on Facebook, on Twitter, a little bit on Reddit. And, of course, you can also send us an email, animaniacast@retrozap.com. And, hey, speaking of retrozap.com, we're a proud member of the RetroZap podcast community, and we'd love for you to check out retrozap.com and all the other podcasts as well. They're covering all different types of pop culture, whether it is video games, movies, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, just retro stuff in general. It's all there. Head over to retrozap.com. You can subscribe to the RetroZap feed, and you can get all of those different podcasts delivered straight to your device, including this one. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
Don't try being this cute at home. I'm a trained professional.